And what is up, YouTube? Space Captain here with another battle report of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Skirmish High Elves versus the Undead today. This is the beginning of a new campaign that I'm doing with my buddy who is the Undead. I decided to give the High Elves another try. I went ahead and I broke apart all of the options that they had available and just kind of like reassessed sort of the way that I should be playing, just because most of my High Elf experience was from 8th edition, so I don't really have much of a take on how they exist in Age of Sigmar yet. So all of the High Elf games are definitely going to be a learning experience, for me at least, and who knows, maybe it'll bring up some points that all of y'all overlooked, or whatever, vice versa. But yeah, let's get into it. We rolled off and we got a 3, so we got the assassination mission, and basically we rolled off, he won, and he decided that he wanted to be the assassin this time. So the main thing about this game type is that sure, the assassin can set up 3 inches from the edge of the board. There's a 15-inch gap on all sides, but the main thing that you want to focus on is the encampment. Because the encampment, your character who is about to be assassinated, or that they're trying to assassinate, cannot leave the encampment. So this is fairly interesting, because that makes it a little bit more condensed, because you can't really bring your guy any farther than that 12 by 12 in the very, very center. So let's get into it. I've already told you that I am the target of the assassination. My opponent is the Undead trying to kill the Anointed of Assyrian. The dice that are in the center, the yellow, red, blue, and black dice, are the outer edges of the encampment. We wind up taking them away just to avoid any confusion, and also, as long as I keep them in that little square, we can easily see, so everything should be good. So as you see, my opponent went ahead and chose to deploy all of his forces on the same side. By the way, this is a 75 renown match. So most of his troops, all of his troops, are on the right side. So what I have is basically my Anointed behind a Spire Guard up on the top, basically just up top. You'll see him eventually, but he is over by the white horses, which are actually dragon blades. So I have 2 dragon blades, I have 3 reavers, I have 6 sword masters, and I believe 6 Spire Guard. I may only have 5 Spire Guard, but it's irrelevant. He has 3 Crypt Horrors. He has 1... I'm not sure what his general was, actually. But then he has a Wraith and a Hex Wraith. So he's coming at me with some pretty heavy guys. I'm really hoping that the Dragon Blades show up, because, with my experience, Dragon Princes in 8th edition, I mean, sure, there was a unit of 5 of them, but, they did work always. So, really excited to try these guys out. Since he is the assassin, he decides to go first, because he gets to choose who goes first. So, on turn 1, battle start, basically just moves into range over here, and I shimmy up to try and block him. I know from previous experience that his wraiths can, 1, pass through solid objects, but 2, if they pass through my troops, he winds up doing some serious damage to me. So I think it's mortal wounds in this, and then D3 mortal wounds if it's a hero. But you see my Anointed up there, behind the horses, up on the top. My Reaver, who was up top, the silver one, who's now dead center down low, he runs down the ladder and posts up a position, and basically I do a full high elf volley, and I actually take him out. I wind up taking out one of the crypt horrors, and I'm like, holy crap, like, that was unexpected. Like, maybe 1 or 2 wounds, but oh my gosh, I had no idea that was going to happen, and we were both very surprised. But roll off for turn 2. I actually get the first turn. Holy crap. So turn 2, I decide to move my guys out a little bit, try to get a better position. Since I have already killed one of his guys, I kind of have him on his heels. I know that he's in a really nice defensive position with his guys basically, you know, over behind the wall so that I can't pick and choose. So right now his Wraith is out in the open. So at the beginning of turn 2, I decide to unload all of my arrows. You know, the same amount of arrows that wound up killing the Crypt Horror. They only wind up doing 1 wound on the on the Wraith. So that was a little unfortunate. Definitely rolled really, really badly with arrows. As is tradition, you get 1 really, really good round, and then they don't really do too much afterwards. But hey, at least they had that 1 round. So he decides to charge in. He winds up passing through with his Wraith. Luckily, he did not roll a 6, so he didn't do a mortal wound to one of my Spire Guard. And also, he came down here in the bottom left with his Hex Wraith on a horse. So he also, luckily, did not get a wound off on my Reaver Captain. But his general is right there. He has 2 Crypt Horrors, and right now he has a bunch of dudes in positions that can really, really put me in a world of hurt. So right now I'm just kind of like, uh-oh. I was kind of expecting this, but honestly I was kind of wishing that I moved my Swordmasters up more. So after swinging, I wind up actually getting a wound off onto his general with just a regular Spire Guard. Insane. And oh, no. That was off of all of my shooting. Yeah. So he winds up killing the Spire Guard, but then on my turn, I wind up doing some shooting. No. This is still my turn. Yeah. This is the pile-in. So this is the end of combat. One of my Spire Guard wind up actually doing a wound to his general. My Reavers wind up basically just having a pillow fight with the Hex Raids. And basically, yeah, we just move on. He winds up killing my Captain and also my Lothern Standard. So that's going to help me, that's going to bite me in the ass, basically, when I try to take Battle Shock tests. So, with roll off for turn 3, the High Elves choose the first turn, and basically it is just me trying to shimmy my Swordmasters into combat. I wind up getting some Dragon Blades up in there too to help out, but one of my Reavers actually wind up dying. And the Swordmasters don't really do much. They're also just kind of having a pillow fight. He is able to pile in with one of his Crypt Horrors, which you know, that happens. And I wind up losing one of my Reavers, one of my Swordmasters, and then on his turn, he winds up killing 2 more Swordmasters. As you can see, he healed one of his wounds. My Dragon Blade horse actually put a wound onto the Wraith, so that's kind of funny. Not the Dragon Blade himself; it was the horse kicking a Wraith. And the Illyrian Reaver also got a wound put on him. So he is kind of wobbly at this point. Probably won't be of this world very much longer. Kills 2 of my guys, but I'm fine with my Battle Shock. My bravery is still at a 7. So roll off for turn 4, and the Undead choose the first turn. So, uh-oh. So he comes in and just basically mauls me. At the end of combat, I lose basically all of my guys who are in combat. I lose 4 guys. One of my Dragon Blades, one of my Reavers, Spire Guard, and also one of my Sword Masters. And ouch. So I take a Battle Shock test, and I wound up losing 2 guys. This is not looking good for the Elves. So, still, I wind up putting 2 wounds onto his general, and the Wraith has 2 wounds on him. But one thing that we kind of overlooked is that this game is assassination. So right here, he's murdering all of my guys, but the objective is my general. So, yeah, in rounds of combat, he winds up killing basically my remaining Dragon Blade Captain and another one of my Sword Masters, but one of my Sword Masters stands steady, and the High Elves choose the first turn on turn 5. You can see my Sword Master right there in the center of it all, standing up like a champ. He's like, you will not kill me, and puts another wound onto the general. I mean, so far, I swear I've done about 7 wounds to him, but he heals him, and it goes on to his turn, and he moves his Wraith up here to my trusty Spire Guard, who's been up here just taking shots the entire time, watching his friends die. Fairly cinematic, and he also moves his Hex Wraith over here to try and attack my general. But you see in the background that he's moved on from my lone Swordmaster, who is right now taking on his general and the 2 guys. So he decides to kind of call it at this because he doesn't really feel like rolling for the combat. He knows that he can't kill my general with his Hex Wraith at this point. He just can't do the 5 wounds. And winds up being a very cinematic victory for the High Elves. Passes through and chants a cold whisper into the ears of the Spire Guard and puts a curse on him and his captain, the Anointed of Assyrian, allowing him to live another day, but he will be watched every movement until they decide that they will meet again and claim his eternal soul of the Anointed of Assyrian. But it was a High Elf victory, so good for me. MVP was definitely the Reavers. If I don't have anybody within 6 inches of me who's a bad guy, shooting 3s, hitting on 4s, wounding on 4s, I mean, that just volume gets so good. Also, the Sword Masters. I think I'm just going to replace all of my Spire Guard with Sword Masters. I just feel like that's going to be the best thing to do. And the Dragon Blades, I feel like they can do a lot. It's just I rolled really, really poorly, and also he had some serious saves. Speaking of which, definitely from his general, the 10-inch bubble 5-up save. Basically a ward save conferred onto anyone within 10 inches of him. Oh my gosh, dude! Like, how am I gonna break these guys up? How am I gonna do that? Divide and conquer without doing that to myself. Cryptors, oh man, I mean, they do what they're supposed to, but they do what they're supposed to. And also the Wraiths, definitely keeping me on my toes. Very versatile, very able to get around the map. And yeah, raids are very serious. But once again, it is a win for the High Elves, and this is the first of 6 rounds that we're going to do for our campaign. So check out some of the other battles that are going to be coming up. Basically, battle 8 through 14 is, well, 8 through 13 is going to be what you're looking for. So we are going to play through all of the campaign matches, and yeah, we're going to show you what it's going to be like with the Undead versus the High Elves. For winning, I got 20 renown and he got 16. So the next match we are going to have me at 95 and him at 81. No. Yeah, and him at 91. Yeah, I'll be not at 95. He'll be at 91. So, once again, thanks for watching. This is Space Captain, and keep on wargaming, y'all.